What turned James Corden from America's beloved national host into a name that sparked universal outrage and betrayal among fans? I want to speak to James here. It's James, isn't it? When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here. To which Corden replied, "Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry, but when you come up and present an award, just get on with it." There we go. Later, Corden shocked audiences again with the announcement, "I've decided to sign for one more year on the show, and this will be my last year hosting The Late Late Show." James Corden was one of the most powerful hosts on American TV, turning his charm and wit into an unmatched signature. With hundreds of millions of online views and a stack of prestigious Emmy awards, he soared beyond the typical talk show host, joining the ranks of global stars like BTS, Justin Bieber, and Michelle Obama. To fans, Corden wasn't just an MC. He was an icon who helped shape a dazzling era of late-night television. But behind the lovable guy persona was a string of scandals that stunned the public, revealing a completely different James Corden, arrogant, hot-tempered, and downright unlikable, with no way to hide it. From publicly clashing with veteran actor Patrick Stewart on stage to berating staff at Balthazar Restaurant to showing contempt for colleagues and dropping comments that enraged the masses, Corden single-handedly demolished the pedestal he'd spent over a decade building. His reputation crumbled, his career tanked, and the public that once idolized him turned their backs, leaving only anger and a sense of betrayal. So what turned this nation's host into Hollywood's most toxic figure? And how many secrets about James Corden are still buried? Stick with me as we peel back the curtain on the full truth, from hidden footage to never-before-revealed accusations to the dark side of one of the world's most famous hosts. Don't look away, because what you're about to hear will change how you see James Corden. Born in 1978 in Hillingdon, UK, James Corden started as a little-known comedian and writer before breaking out with the History Boys, and especially Gavin and Stacey, a series he co-created and starred in. The show became a UK sensation, earning him a BAFTA in 2008 and peaking with 17.1 million viewers for its 2020 Christmas special. That massive success paved the way for his American takeover, and in 2015, Corden landed the gig as host of The Late Late Show on CBS. He made his mark fast with a witty, approachable style, especially through Carpool Karaoke, where he drove, chatted, and sang with megastars like Stevie Wonder, Harry Styles, and Adele. The Adele episode alone racked up over 260 million YouTube views, with Carpool Karaoke totaling billions. James redefined late-night TV, said David Schmid, a culture professor at the University of Buffalo. He brought a fresh, friendly vibe that made viewers feel like they were hanging with a buddy. Beyond TV, Corden hosted major events like the Grammys and Tony Awards and snagged roles in blockbusters like Into the Woods and Ocean's 8. With millions of loyal fans and a brand tied to humor and sincerity, he became a global fan favorite. That meteoric rise took Corden from obscure comedian to international entertainment icon. He was the ultimate cheeky chappy, a fun, relatable guy you couldn't help but love. But right at the height of his glory, the first cracks started to show. Corden admitted that after Gavin and Stacey's success, he believed he was hotter than he actually was, losing interest when conversations weren't about him. Add in a lifestyle of all-night parties and constant ego-stroking, what he called easy to get drunk on, and you've got a recipe for trouble. He'd occasionally show impulsiveness or slip up in how he treated people, but fans let it slide. To them, James Corden was the funny, down-to-earth guy, and those missteps just made him seem more real. But that forgiveness unintentionally masked the growing fractures behind the spotlight. And from those seemingly harmless mistakes, Corden slid into a string of behaviors that sent his image crashing down, yanking him off the pedestal fans once placed him. The downward spiral of James Corden's career can be traced back to a single moment that many now see as a glimpse into his true character. A public clash with veteran actor Patrick Stewart at the 2010 Glamour Women of the Year Awards. As the event's host, Corden found himself on the receiving end of sharp criticism from Stewart, who called him out on stage for his unprofessional demeanor. Stewart said, "When the host stands at the back of the stage, hands stuffed in his pockets, looking around as if he'd rather be anywhere else. That's simply unacceptable. Instead of diffusing the tension with an apology, Corden fired back with biting sarcasm. "Oh, you're so wrong. If I came off that way, I'm terribly sorry, but when you come up to present awards, just do your job." The exchange escalated quickly. Stewart jabbed at Corden's weight, and Corden retaliated by mocking Stewart's age. "Can we call a cab now? There's an old man here who needs to get home." The sparring grew more awkward as they traded barbs while another speaker tried to address the audience. The audience, both at the event and online, was stunned. Many expressed disappointment, with one Twitter user writing, "I'm embarrassed for Corden. Going toe-to-toe with Patrick Stewart like that is just indefensible." This wasn't an isolated misstep. Paparazzi footage captured Corden storming through Los Angeles with an irritated, unfriendly expression, and he once lashed out when pranked by Ant and Dec in a stunt that made him late for work. Though sometimes understandable, his repeated quick-tempered reactions revealed a side of him unafraid to attack others when criticized. Critics noted that his cheerful persona might just be a facade. Worse controversies followed. In 2020, leaked behind-the-scenes footage showed that carpool karaoke was often staged, with the car being towed rather than Corden driving. Fans felt betrayed, and his sarcastic response, "95% of the time, I'm genuinely putting the world's biggest pop stars in danger," only made it worse. The disappointment grew in 2021 when Corden mocked BTS's UN appearance, dismissing their fans as 15-year-old girls. The backlash was immediate, with BTS's army, spanning all ages, genders, and professions, calling his remarks insulting and reductive. Global boycotts followed. From his spat with Bill Maher to the explosive scandal at Balthazar in 2022, where restaurant owner Keith McNally branded him a petty creep for berating servers, Corden's image collapsed. Reddit users and former colleagues shared stories of his arrogance and mistreatment of staff. Even Craig Duncan, a director who worked with him, described him as the most unpleasant and arrogant host he'd ever encountered. By then, fans saw through the contrast between his cheerful on-screen persona and his arrogant real-life behavior. In April 2022, Corden announced he'd stepped down from The Late Late Show, citing family reasons. But many believed it was a forced retreat, with his scandals leaving no room to continue. What crushed fans wasn't just the bad behavior, it was how he handled it.